He could have kept walking. He almost did. And maybe if he had, none of this would have ever happened. But sometimes, the universe throws a punch you can't dodge, and it hits where it hurts the most. This isn't a story about a perfect dad. It's about a man, flawed, tired, doing his best. A single father who believed that walking away was strength. Until one day, he couldn't. He heard it before he saw it, a crowd, shouting, fists flying. A street fight he wanted nothing to do with. So he turned away. Walked faster. Then, a scream. He looked back. And in the middle of the chaos, was someone he never expected. Someone he couldn't walk away from. Would you have gone back? Or kept walking? Be honest, drop your answer in the comments. I want to know. If this hits you even a little, tap that like button. And if you're new, subscribe. We tell stories that stay with you. Now, let's rewind. Who was this dad? And what happened that turned a quiet man into a fighter? Before that fight, before the crowd, the chaos, the split-second decision, he was just a man doing what he could. His name was Marcus. 37 years old. A mechanic by trade. Quiet by nature. And the kind of father who carried the weight of the world without making a sound. He raised his son, Jaden, alone since the boy was just 2. Jaden's mother left one morning, said she was going for a drive, and never came back. No note. No call. Nothing. Just a silence that stretched into years. And in that silence, Marcus stepped up. He became everything: coach, cook, shoulder to cry on. He didn't just take on the role of a father. He rewrote it. He worked 12-hour shifts in a dimly lit garage, hands always stained with oil, back aching from years of heavy lifting. But when he came home, no matter how tired he was present. Story time. Homework. Laughs over frozen pizza. Jaden never felt like he was missing anything, because Marcus gave him everything. And more than anything, Marcus taught his son discipline, not with rules or punishments, but with presence and patience. Son, he'd say, you don't have to be loud to be strong. Real power's quiet. Jaden watched him live those words. When someone cut in line, Marcus stepped back. When he was shortchanged at the corner store, he smiled and walked away. When a customer at the garage screamed at him for something out of his control, he kept his tone even. Why don't you ever fight back? Jaden once asked. Because somebody has to be better, Marcus said. And I want that somebody to be you. That line stuck. It became their family motto. But what most people didn't know is why Marcus believed that so deeply. He had grown up in a house where silence meant safety. His father had fists that came faster than words. His mother stayed silent for survival. And Marcus, he vowed to break the cycle. He didn't just want to raise a good son. He wanted to raise one who didn't carry fear in his chest. So he made a promise to himself: no yelling. No hitting. No fear. The neighborhood they lived in didn't make that easy. Fights broke out weekly. Tension hung in the air like humidity. Some men earned respect with volume. Marcus earned it with consistency. He didn't preach peace. He practiced it. But life never stops testing you. Money was tight. The rent was late, again. His boss had been threatening layoffs. Jaden was starting high school soon, and he worried what kind of pressures the boy would face. But he never showed it. Not to Jaden. Every morning he made breakfast, even if it was just toast. Every evening he asked, how was school, even if his own day had been a disaster. He didn't think he was doing anything special. He thought this is what dads should do. So when that street fight broke out across the road, Marcus didn't hesitate. He turned away. Walking faster, just like he'd taught his son. Stay out of other people's storms. But that day changed everything. Because just as he turned, he heard a name. A name he recognized like his own heartbeat. He spun around. eyes scanning. And then he saw him. Jaden. In the middle of the crowd. Frozen. Scared. And surrounded. The moment froze. Jaden stood with his back to Marcus, fists clenched, shoulders tense, facing off against two older teens. One of them shoved him hard in the chest. Jaden stumbled back, but didn't fall. He didn't flinch either. Marcus's heart dropped. He yelled his son's name, but the roar of the crowd swallowed it whole. People were cheering, filming, pushing in closer. His feet moved faster than his thoughts, slicing through the wall of bodies. His eyes never left Jaden. How did this happen? Just that morning, they had laughed over burnt toast. Jaden had teased him for singing off-key. Nothing felt wrong. Yet here they were. Marcus recognized the boys surrounding him. Neighborhood kids, the kind who looked for trouble just to feel alive. He had warned Jaden to stay away from them again and again. Had Jaden ignored him? Or had something else forced this confrontation? The crowd circled tight. Phones out. Nobody helping. And then Marcus saw it. Jaden wasn't just afraid. There was a rage in his eyes Marcus had never seen before. A look that scared him more than any punch ever could. Then the second teen lunged. A punch flew. Jaden ducked, barely. It clipped his cheek and spun him halfway around. He staggered, caught his balance, and turned back to face them. Still, he didn't run. Marcus shouted again, this time with everything he had. Jaden. This time, their eyes met. And the fire vanished. Jaden's jaw unclenched. For a second, he wasn't a fighter. He was a kid again. Marcus's kid. Marcus broke through the last row of bystanders just as a third punch came flying toward his son. Instinct took over. He caught it midair. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Someone shouted, "Yo! That's his dad!" The tension cracked. The older teens froze. One stepped back, unsure now. The other glanced around, calculating the odds. Marcus stared them down, chest heaving, his hand still gripping the fist he'd stopped. He hadn't thrown a punch in 2 decades. He didn't want to start now. But in that moment, with his son beside him and adrenaline roaring through his veins, he didn't know what he would do. He turned to Jaden. "You okay?" Jaden wiped blood from his lip. "I'm fine." But he wasn't. Marcus could see it. His knuckles were scraped. His eyes red. "What happened?" Marcus asked, voice low but sharp. Jaden looked away. The taller teen muttered something under his breath, then turned and walked off. The other followed. The crowd began to dissolve, energy draining out now that the fight had ended without a finale. Marcus and Jaden stood in the middle of it all. Father and son. Calm after chaos. But inside Marcus, the storm had just begun. What scared him wasn't the fight. It wasn't the crowd or even the fists thrown. It was the silence in Jaden's eyes. The weight he carried without words. And in that moment, a fear settled deep inside Marcus. What if the world had already started to harden his son? What if everything he'd taught, every peaceful choice, every calm example, hadn't been enough? Or worse. What if Jaden had found his own reason to fight? They walked home in silence. Not because there was nothing to say, but because there was too much. The streets behind them buzzed with whispers, leftover tension, and the heat of the moment. But between Marcus and Jaden, there was only the soft rhythm of their footsteps, and a growing weight pressing on both of their chests. Marcus didn't ask anything. Not yet. He wanted to yell. He wanted to shake Jaden and ask, "What were you thinking?" But more than anger, he felt fear. So he stayed quiet. At home, Jaden headed straight to the bathroom. Marcus heard water running, then silence. He sat at the edge of the couch, elbows on his knees, hands clasped tightly together. Replaying the moment over and over again. Why didn't Jaden walk away? Jaden finally emerged, his cheek bandaged, his steps slow. He hovered near the hallway like he wasn't sure he wanted to be seen. "I didn't start it," he said quietly. Marcus looked up and nodded. "I know. They said stuff about you." That made Marcus sit straighter. "What kind of stuff?" "They called you a coward," Jaden said, eyes burning. "Said you let people step all over you. That you're weak." Marcus didn't flinch. But something shifted behind his eyes. "And what did you do?" he asked. Jaden stared at the floor. "I told them they didn't know you. That they didn't know anything about what we've been through. They laughed. Said real men don't walk away. Said you'd probably run if someone slapped you." His voice was trembling now. "I told them to shut up. One pushed me. I pushed back. Then the punches started. I didn't mean to fight. But once it started, I didn't know how to stop." Marcus took a long breath. He had spent the last 13 years building a world where his son didn't have to fight to be respected. Where calm was power. But he realized now, Jaden didn't just need to hear those lessons. He needed to feel the reason behind them. He patted the couch next to him. Jaden hesitated, then sat down. "You remember what I always told you?" Marcus asked. Jaden nodded. "Real strength is in your choices." Marcus nodded back. "Exactly. But I never told you why I believe that." Then, Marcus opened a door he'd kept locked for decades. He told Jaden about his own father. The shouting. The fists. The broken doors. The long nights under his bed, covering his ears, hoping it would stop. How he learned to avoid eye contact, how he flinched at loud noises. And how, when he became a man, he swore he would never be like that. "I fought every instinct in me not to become him," Marcus said, voice cracking. "Every time someone disrespected me, I held it in, not because I was afraid. But because I was protecting you. Protecting you from the monster I could have become." Jaden's eyes glistened, but he didn't speak. "I didn't want you to grow up with bruises. I didn't want you to be scared of my voice. I wanted to show you that peace wasn't weakness, it was control. It was courage. It was the strength my father never had." Jaden swallowed hard. "I just wanted them to stop," he whispered. Marcus nodded. "I know. And you thought standing up to them meant proving something. But Jaden, you don't have to prove anything to anyone." He leaned in closer. "You're already strong. Stronger than most adults I know. But true strength, it isn't in how hard you hit. It's in how much you can carry without losing yourself." Jaden looked up at him, unsure. "So what now?" he asked. Marcus smiled faintly. "Now we talk. We stay honest. And we learn." Jaden's voice cracked. "Did I mess everything up?" "No," Marcus said, pulling him into a hug. "You reminded me why I fight so hard to be calm. You reminded me what I'm protecting." And in that moment, everything shifted. Jaden saw his father, not as soft, but as strong. A man who chose to hold peace in a world that demanded rage. And Marcus? He realized that teaching peace wasn't enough. Sometimes, you have to show your fire, just long enough to prove it's under control. They sat there, locked in a quiet embrace. A father. A son. Both changed. Both choosing love over anger. Because walking away isn't cowardice. It's control. But standing your ground, for the right reason? That's legacy. The next day, something still felt wrong. Jaden was quieter than usual. He moved like he was underwater, sluggish, thoughtful, distracted. He ate breakfast without complaint, but barely spoke. His eyes weren't angry anymore. They were heavy. Marcus dropped him off at school, watching as his son disappeared through the doors, head low, shoulders tense. It wasn't just the fight. Marcus knew that now. Something else was boiling underneath. All day, Marcus tried to focus at work. But he kept hearing Jaden's voice echo, "They said stuff about you." His knuckles tightened around every wrench he touched. Not from rage, but from uncertainty. What else had they said? That night, Marcus made spaghetti, their favorite. He didn't ask questions at first. He just let the silence breathe. Until Jaden looked like he was ready. "Jaden," Marcus said gently, "I need you to tell me everything." Jaden didn't lift his eyes from the plate. "I told you already." "No," Marcus said. "You told me part of it. But I know there's more." There was a long pause. Then Jaden whispered, "They weren't just talking about you." Marcus leaned in. "They talked about Mom." Time stopped. Marcus didn't move, didn't breathe. "What did they say?" "They said she left because of you. That you used to hit her. That she was scared." Marcus felt a wave of cold crash over him. He blinked. "And you believed that?" Jaden's voice broke. "I didn't want to. But I didn't know. You never talk about her. You never told me why she left." Marcus looked away. His throat was tight. "Jaden. I swear to you, on everything, I never laid a hand on her. Not once. That's not who I am." Jaden finally looked up. "Then why did she leave?" Marcus sighed, leaning back, eyes distant. "She was lost, son. We were both young. I loved her, but she didn't know how to stay. I think she felt trapped. Not by me, but by the idea of being a mom. She wanted freedom. She wanted something I couldn't give her." Jaden looked down, biting his lip. "And I let her go," Marcus said. "Not because I didn't care. But because chasing her would have broken me." Jaden didn't speak for a long moment. Then he asked quietly, "So you didn't fight for her?" Marcus nodded slowly. "No. I didn't." Jaden frowned. "Why?" "Because fighting to keep someone who wants to leave. That's not love. That's fear. And I refuse to pass fear on to you." Jaden leaned back, absorbing every word. "They said she's back," he said finally. Marcus blinked. "What?" "One of the kids said she came back to town. That she asked about me." The air shifted. Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. For years, she'd been a ghost. A memory. A scar. Now she was back. "Did she contact you?" Marcus asked carefully. Jaden shook his head. "Not yet. But I heard she's staying with someone nearby. Anne. I think she wants to see me." Marcus's chest tightened. "And what do you want?" Jaden shrugged. "I don't know. Part of me wants to scream at her. Ask her why she left. Why she didn't even try." He paused. "But another part just wants to know who she is." Marcus nodded, emotion swirling behind his eyes. "You have the right to know," he said. "But I need you to be ready. She might be different than you remember. Or maybe exactly the same." Jaden met his father's eyes. "Would you be okay with it?" Marcus didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, "It's not about me. It's about you. But if you go to her, I just want you to carry everything I've taught you with you." Jaden nodded. "I will." Marcus stood, walked to the kitchen, and stared out the window. The night felt heavy. A chapter he thought was closed had just been cracked wide open. And in that moment, he realized something: this wasn't the end of the story. It was the start of a new one. A week passed. Jaden didn't rush. He didn't try to find her, didn't ask questions every night. But the thought that she was nearby, it sat with him. Like a song on low volume in the back of his mind. Always playing. Always there. Marcus noticed. Every time Jaden looked out the window too long. Every time he seemed a little more distant. Marcus wanted to ask. But he didn't. He waited. Then, on a rainy Saturday, Jaden finally said it. "I want to see her." No drama. Just a quiet truth. Marcus nodded. Okay. They drove without music, each lost in their own thoughts. Marcus didn't know how it would go. He didn't even know if he wanted it to go well. But this wasn't his decision. It was Jaden's. They met at a park on the edge of town, just past the river. She was already there, sitting on a bench beneath an old oak, arms wrapped around herself. She looked smaller than Marcus remembered. Or maybe he was just seeing her differently now. Jaden walked ahead alone. Marcus stayed back, leaning against the car. Their conversation wasn't long. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She told the truth. She said she was young. Scared. That motherhood had overwhelmed her. That she thought disappearing was better than failing. That she believed Marcus would do a better job alone, and he had. Jaden listened. He didn't shout. He didn't accuse. He just asked questions. Simple, hard questions. Why didn't you say goodbye? Did you ever think about me? Do you regret it? And she answered. Then, Jaden said something Marcus didn't expect. I'm not angry. I just needed to know. I just needed you to say it. No dramatic hugs. No perfect closure. Just clarity. Just a 14-year-old boy making peace with a ghost. When they got home, Marcus made hot chocolate, something they hadn't done since Jaden was small. They sat on the couch, silent at first. Listening to the rain tap the windows. Then Jaden spoke. I think I understand now. Understand what? Marcus asked. Why you don't fight. Why you walk away. Why you forgive people who don't deserve it. Marcus looked at him, waiting. It's not because you're scared, Jaden said. It's because you've already fought the hardest battles. Inside. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Jaden looked up. You're the strongest person I know. And for the first time, Marcus didn't see a boy struggling to understand the world. He saw a young man, shaped by hardship, but not hardened by it. And Jaden? He didn't just respect his father. He understood him. His silence. His scars. His strength. That strength wasn't loud. It wasn't in fists or fury. It was in restraint. In the choice to forgive. In the ability to carry pain and still choose love. That night, the house felt warmer. The air felt lighter. Because sometimes, healing doesn't come in one moment. Sometimes, it comes slowly, in quiet decisions, in brave conversations, in unexpected clarity. And for Marcus and Jaden, this was that moment. They didn't erase the past. But they were no longer haunted by it. Some stories end with a bang. Others with silence. But this one? This story ends with something better, understanding. Marcus didn't save the day with fists or fury. He saved it by staying true to who he was, even when the world misunderstood him. He proved that strength isn't about how loud you yell or how hard you hit, it's about knowing what's worth standing for. And Jaden? He walked away from that park with more than answers. He walked away with clarity. With peace. And with a new appreciation for the quiet strength that had always been right in front of him. Life won't stop testing them. There will be more storms. More choices. But now, they face them together. Side by side. Choosing calm over chaos. Love over pride. And peace over pain. If this story touched something in you, even a little, tap that like button. It helps us reach more hearts who need to hear this. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, we have more stories that will stay with you long after they end. And drop a comment below, what would you have done if you were Marcus? Thanks for being here. Until next time, choose love.